Welcome to The Subject Property. My name's Stephen Harrison, Joint Managing Director of Ray White Commercial WA, and today I'm here with Lachlan Burrows. He's part of our Northern Suburbs industrial team, and we're going to talk about some of the more rapidly evolving industrial precincts. Lachlan, welcome.
G'day, Steve. Thank you.
So let's talk us through some of these industrial areas.
Yeah, sure thing. So, the North's got quite a few industrial areas, but your most more recent ones are your Neerabup, your Muchea, and Bullsbrook. Yes. So, three very different industrial areas. Neerabup is developed probably 6 to 7 years ago, where they started getting in there. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much done now. There's not much land left over. And then throughout sort of Neerabup, you've got a lot of different operators, and it's your more sort of locals. It's population growth that's actually driven that growth in Neerabup. It's not necessarily your big companies that are using it for strategic front. It's more your catchment that's growing Neerabup.
There's Bullsbrook. It's not far.
Bullsbrook is, you got the Bullsbrook Town Centre. A lot of it's, you got plenty of mechanics, your diesel mechanics, communications. It's sort of just getting to the more of that truck sort of travel logistics sort of aspect. Yes. But they're not heavy logistics or heavy sort of freight. Whereas if you go sort of further north, you get to Muchea, your 20,000 square metre lands, you get your 40,000 square metre lands, and majority of them are that connection to the north. So your mining sites up north and everything like that. So
Muchea is a much stronger logistics focus.
Yeah.
Larger format tenancies and land holdings.
It's not necessarily. You're not going to get a logistics centre there. You're not going to get, Amazon HQ or anything like that, or a distribution centre. But you've got your trucks, your truck stops, your RAV7s, your RAV10 networks coming into play there, and it's going to be that next sort of stop before heading far, far north. So it's going to be that connecting point for trucks and freight.
If I wanted to buy land in Neerabup, what am I going to spend to do that?
At Neerabup, no land left. 5 years ago you couldn't give it away for $150 a square metre, but now it's $350 a square metre plus. At Muchea, you're spending for a 40,000 square metre site $160 a square metre.
Yes.
240 for your 10,000 and under. And Bullsbrook ranging from $250 to $300 a square metre.
So, look, it's actually much more affordable than most of the...
you look in Wangara, you're paying $800 a square metre plus. And
yeah.
So Neerabup's becoming one of those areas where if you can't afford Wangara, you can't afford Malaga, you're going further north. So you're attracting more of your people who want to be in an industrial precinct, but not necessarily wanting to spend the money to get into Wangara or Malaga. Whereas Muchea, it's not the people who can't afford to get into those areas. It's people, okay, I want to be there because I've got a freight business, and it's useful for my business. Yeah. So it's an emerging suburb. Neerabup is just in another industrial area. Whereas Bullsbrook is in between a freight and another industrial area, and Muchea is a whole different strategic location based on freight. Again,
less than half the price of some of your more established industrial areas.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's emerging. If I had the money, I'd probably put it into Bullsbrook.
Yeah, why Bullsbrook?
I think Bullsbrook is just sort of that mix between the two. You've got your heavy freight and also your growing catchment. You've got the Kingsford development out in Bullsbrook, which has got 4,000 homes coming up. It's the largest growth residential area in the last, 2023, 2024. So I think it's just going to keep growing. And it's going to be a connection point to the greater north and Perth too. So.
Okay. So Bullsbrook it is.
Bullsbrook it is, yeah.
Okay. Lachlan, thank you for joining us on The Subject Property.
No problem.
And if you'd like to discuss in more detail the northern industrial property market, please feel free to reach out to Lachlan.